for sure. So anyway, this is a passage from 1984 by George Orwell, which talks a little bit about those divisions and the hope that we can have when we get beyond these artificial divisions. It was curious to think that the sky was the same for everybody, in Eurasia or East Asia as well as here. And the people under the sky were also very much the same. Everywhere, all over the world, hundreds of thousands of millions of people just like us. People ignorant of one another's existence, held apart by walls of hatred and lies, and yet almost exactly the same. People who had never learned to think, but who were storing up in their hearts and bellies and muscles the power that would one day overturn the world. If there was hope, it lay in the proles. Thanks.
Thanks, Matt. I'm going to introduce the next person who's also been up on stage tonight, coming up for a second time. Paula Graham is going to do a piece of her own spoken word for us.
Thanks very much. I just wanted to say before I actually read the piece, so a little bit later in this poem I make reference to a couple of First Nations girls who went missing near where I grew up in Ontario. And so I was glad to see this banner here today because missing and murdered Aboriginal women is something I care about a lot. And so these two girls in 2008 that went missing, I think they were 15 and 16 or 16 and 17, and their names were Maisie and Shannon. And they have not been found, and I don't hear people talking about them, so I just wanted to say their names out loud today. Maisie and Shannon, you don't know me, but I kind of think about you sometimes, and I'm sorry you're missing. So this piece is called An Honest Conversation. This is not a poem, and this is not an apology. This is a statement of fact. A statement of fact in every objective sense of the word about your being, you crazy radical who feels a hostile incompatibility between the person you are and the world you're in. This is the impossible war for peace. This is the sun and the rain. This is the movement of your body through my space, through our collective human lives that hinge entirely on you, shaken and trembling, lit alight by the possibility that I might say something you actually want to hear. This is a manifesto for all those who dare to hate manifestos and ideology and politics. This is a curse of love, a story of exception, the only way of being you want to know and almost never dared explore. This is the feeling of your life as you move one step at a time through hollow walls and shopping centers and fresh food markets and sand. This is the currency of no economy, the flesh of no one's body, the colors of an invisible rainbow that you will never see with your eyes, but will taste, touch, smell, hear every day, every moment, every lost song and musical note of your life. So here it is. You are not broken. You are in the most perfect working order, carefully crafted by yourself and that weird little beast in you that cries over injustice, dances at the silent disco, blows out the flames every year on 1, 2, 20, 100 birthday candles. You are not broken. You are failing at this life. You are failing at life, at this life, yes, this disgusting version of life, because the pain of being part of a capitalism of cars that spew smoke, seeds that sprout genetically engineered cancer, tablets and computers and devices that stare all day long into the whites of your eyes, not the other way around, is the scariest and most beautiful monster you've ever seen. If you feel uncomfortable, if you feel lost, if you feel like you're sleeping through some terrible dream, hoping to wake to a world of peace and love and popsicles and all that other hippie shit, if you're tired from selling yourself, your body, your mind, your heart to the people and powers that tromp around the planet as if there is no law of cause and effect, as if the oceans need more plastic, as if the atmosphere needs more insulation, as if the poor are helped by maintaining the rich. If you are confused about how and why you arrived in this life, only to learn that everything you love is just not profitable. If you feel stupid, tired, stoned, anchored by a ball and chain to a cage you were told to build in order to keep yourself not in the world, but out of it. If you feel like you are digging a grave one paycheck at a time, a grave not for your dead body to rest peacefully while your soul flourishes in some kind of beyond life domain of perpetual presence and joy, but a grave for each item on your resume, for each transferable skill, for each award and accomplishment and credit and name tag and opportunity seized and problem solved. They are the shovels that dig the most shallow grave you can imagine. In fact, your grave is not below the ground at all. Those shovels do not dig down, but pile up, so that you can reach higher and higher into success and money and security and status and possession. The grave that will not allow you to quit this earth, this life, the grave that will keep you here. The grave that says no when you ask for justice. The grave that promises that while you soar high, high into the echelons of Wall Street and Bay Street and the University of Stifled Thought, 80% of humanity will continue to drink their own bathwater, shit where they eat, use their withering bodies to toil the most beautiful earth so that you and I can buy oranges from South Africa for 25 cents apiece. This 80% of humanity who are only warmed by the smiles of their children and the memories of them once they die of starvation, dehydration, disease. Because almost every single woman on this planet will be assaulted at least once in her lifetime. Because almost every single person who identifies as a sexual minority will be hated or smeared or fucking killed. Because when men speak up about women's rights, they are shamed and mocked and heaven help us referred to as a pussy. Because the expectation of a wheelchair accessible building is too much pressure for our fragile hearts. Because the freedom to grow for ourselves the vitamins and minerals and fibers that will nourish our bodies is too much of a threat to the corporate dominions of slave-owning slaves who want nothing more than to sell you medicine when you're sick, charge you for food when you're hungry, turn off the heat when you're cold, and demand your silence and compliance while workers in China jump out of factory windows after building your new iPhone. Because in the month of September in 2008, just a couple of hours from my family home, 2 young women went missing and nobody with the power to actually bring them back spared even a hint of compassion. Because these women are not Indians, they are all of us. They are all of our authentic selves, last seen on our way to find happiness through dance and friendship, missing, presumed, dead. Because the people with the guns and the badges and the billy clubs and the pepper spray may be human deep down, but are willfully trapped in a body, an institution, an economy of violence. Because we'd rather kill than be killed. We'd rather starve than be starved. Because we'd rather poison our planet to the point that it threatens to extinct our entire species than admit our own very real vulnerability in an ecosystem that we have dared to treat as our own personal department store. This is not a poem, and this is not an apology. This is a statement of objective fact, and I hope you heard it, and I hope I heard you. And so as we hear each other, or rather experience each other through this existential crisis of philosophy and math and truth, let's do it over and over again. Let's experience each other over and over again until we remember what it feels like to have an honest conversation.
Thanks, Paula. That was amazing. I haven't heard anything that good in a while. Thank you. It was very comforting. Up next, I think I just looked down at the name that I have. I kind of made a set list here earlier today, and I think I subconsciously, or maybe semi-consciously, I'm not sure, put this next person after Paula because I hadn't heard Paula's piece before, but I knew coming from her it was going to be brutally honest, and I put, I think after her I put one of the musicians in this province who is also brutally